Two young people, an unexpected reunion, and a summer full of second chances. Emotions running high, and of course a romance that you won't be able to get out of your head. Let's get started. After moving due to her mother's job, Tongshi returns to her hometown, Shihai. Her only wish is to avoid running into Lin Nanji, her childhood friend. However, fate is working against her. And as she heads to the train station on the last day of summer vacation, she runs into him. His shock increases when he discovers that Lin Nanji is actually Ching. He, the manhwa artist, whom she deeply admires. Although he has no idea about this, she tries to avoid him at all costs, while he, upon seeing her, can't help but smile. Throughout her childhood, Tongsu protected Lin Nanji from bullies, which led her to a situation she now considers humiliating. For this reason, she tries to distance herself from him. But when they were kids, Lin Nanji seemed to have other plans, as he openly declared that he would marry her in the future. His carefree attitude and theatrical gestures always caught Tongshi's attention, as she considered him someone who watched too many cartoons. The present brings them back together under unexpected circumstances. Lin Nanji finds the manhwa that Tongshu dropped and returns it to her, thus discovering that she is his fan. Soon after, a stranger tries to make advances on her. This prompts Lin Nanji to intervene. However, the sudden closeness makes him uncomfortable, leading him to react awkwardly, and in the struggle, he loses his balance and twists his leg. As a result, Tongshu is forced to take him to the hospital, which means neither of them can attend the manhwa event. While waiting at the hospital, Tongshu calls her boss, Wei-sei, to apologize for missing the event. His tone of voice reveals his discomfort, and without realizing it, her conversation syncs up with Lin Nanji's, who is also on the phone apologizing to his own boss. She glances at him and starts to suspect that he is hiding something. With the start of the new school semester, Lin Nanji comes across a stray cat and after saving it, asks Tongshu for help to get back on his feet. She, who happens to be passing by, stops to help him, but upon noticing a scratch on his face, she decides to cover it with a band-aid. Without warning, he gives her a light slap before placing it and ironically warns her not to do it out of gratitude. Since that was an extra, at her new school, Tongshu receives special treatment, almost as if she were a goddess. Her reputation precedes her, as they call her the White Swan, due to her background in the city and her talent as a dancer. This idealized image is convenient for her, as it allows her to hide her true character and the rough edges of her personality. However, luck isn't entirely on her side. On her side, the only person capable of unmasking her is not present. Lin Nanji, his childhood friend, simply doesn't show up on the first day of school. But since Tongshu has already started her performance, she decides to go ahead. For his part, Lin Nanji smiles at this pretense. When he finally shows up at school, Lin Nanji decides to test Tongshu. Knowing that she has no talent for design, he assigns her the task of drawing on the classroom board. Then, he proposes a truce. He will allow her to continue with her charade as long as she stops treating him with disdain. For him, Tongshu's attitude seems unnecessary, and he prefers to keep a neutral relationship. Meanwhile, Tongshu can't help but feel frustrated about the development of Ching's manhwa. Unable to express her discontent openly, she sends a text message with her negative opinion about the story. However, to her surprise, she receives an immediate read receipt. Despite the apparent differences, a small detail ends up bringing them back together. Excited, Tongshu shares with Lin Nanji her happiness about receiving a small mint plant. In an unexpected turn, he decides to return the gesture in a symbolic way, although the outcome isn't what he expected. As he tries to give the mint plant to Tongshu, he clumsily trips and falls. No matter the situation, he is determined to bring the plant to her. In the past, Tong's father Shi explains to the children the meaning of mint. It represents the hope of seeing each other again. To preserve this symbolism, he keeps mint leaves in good condition so they never wilt. Inspired by this idea, little Tongshu approaches Lin Nanji and tells him that this leaf can be her engagement gift. To this day, Lin Nanji still keeps the mint leaf. As the presentation of the board design approaches, Lin Nanji volunteers to help. Without Tongshu realizing it, he draws a mint plant. However, his help comes at a price. He demands that she be his assistant for a week, which means she has to buy him drinks and open the bottles whenever he needs. His intention seems to be mainly to catch her attention. Meanwhile, another story unfolds among their classmates. Tao Shu decides to prepare squid skewers for Shu Ao at his birthday party. However, he rejects them, which leaves her embarrassed. To ease the tension, Wang Jiming tries to lighten the mood by eating the cold skewers. Later, when they meet again, she laughs at the behavior of her friends, Tongqi and Lin Nanji, without noticing that Tao Shu is still hurt. Finally, Tongchi's decision marks a turning point. In an unexpected act, he entrusts his mint plan to someone else, Hu Tong. A new figure appears in Tongchi's life at school, none other than Xiao Wan, the class president. Her presence would just be a footnote if it weren't for one crucial detail. She shows a clear interest in Lin Nanji and treats him as if he belongs to her. For Tongxi, this situation is annoying. The idea that someone else could take what she considers hers irritates her, even if she doesn't express it openly. At the same time, Nishio doesn't hide her dislike for Tongxi either, as it bothers her that Tongxi is more popular than she is. Caught up in the tension with Nishio and Lin Nanji, Tongxi ends up forgetting about another matter that used to matter to her, Wei Jie, her old crush. However, when she finds out that he has started dating another girl, her frustration comes back immediately. Unable to keep it to herself, she channels her emotions by sending messages to King He. In her private chat, her username clearly reflects her feelings. The only official girlfriend of King He, Nishio and her inseparable follower don't miss the chance to ruin Tongxi's dance rehearsals for a school event. The situation worsens when one of the students gets hurt because Nishio clumsily keeps stepping on him. With the urgent need to find a replacement, Tongxi is forced to turn to her last option, Lin Nanji. When she visits his house, he rushes to hide any trace of Qing. He is in his room, but she has no intention of going in. Her purpose is clear, to check if he really knows how to dance the waltz. Lin Nanji shows that he has practiced enough, and his skill on the dance floor is impeccable. During the dance, he asks her, "Why do you hate me?" It can't just be because he didn't say goodbye when she moved. Oh yes, her reaction makes it clear that, in her mind, Lin Nanji should have treated her as if she were his wife, and the lack of a proper goodbye remains an open wound. As compensation, he proposes that she make a big presentation at the event, but under one condition. In an unexpected twist, the condition, it turns out that Tongxi becomes his model. As he draws her, she falls asleep. Cautiously, Lin Nanji approaches, and with a gentle gesture, he brushes her hair away from her face. However, just at that moment, she wakes up, creating a moment of tension that is broken by the arrival of a phone call. The interruption reminds Tongxi that she has ballet classes. Childhood memories continue to shape her thoughts. Tongxi's parents divorced when she was a child. Her father dreamed of becoming a writer, but his future was uncertain. Back then, little Tongxi wished that Lin Nanji would say goodbye to her before he left, but he never did. He also didn't respond to any of her letters. Despite the time that has passed, there's something that still connects them. The portrait that Lin Nanji made of Tongxi becomes the inspiration for his new manhwa. Tongxi successfully teaches the waltz routine to the students, thanks to the help of her mother, who found out about the situation from Lin Nanji. On the other hand, the life of Nishio Wan, it's not easy. Her father shows little interest in her and tries to spend as little money as possible on her education. If her grades aren't outstanding, she doesn't earn points for a scholarship, which puts her in an even more complicated situation. Now, she also feels that her crush has been taken away from her. In his mind, she has always been there, but with Tongxi's arrival, everything seems to have changed. The day of the event arrives, but a problem occurs. The waltz costumes have disappeared. Tongxi, unable to handle the situation, loses her composure. However, Lin Nanji, who knows her true personality, steps in to cover for her. With no dresses available, the girls improvise by using their sports uniforms and decorating them with drawings. Despite the difficulties, the presentation is a success. Still, one doubt remains in Tongxi's mind. Do you really enjoy dancing, or just is she fulfilling the dream that her mother couldn't achieve? Later, through her father, Tongxi discovers a fact she was unaware of. Lin Nanji, yes, he had gone to say goodbye to her, but he arrived late. Also, she never received his letters because she had moved. Meanwhile, Tongxi's father seems to be taking note of every interaction between her and Lin Nanji, as if she were writing her own story based on their shared moments. Finally, Lin Nanji's new manhwa is revealed. Its title is Ming, and Tongxi appears on the cover. Rumors spread quickly among the students. The female character in Qing He's new manhwa seems to be inspired by Tongxi. Although the similarities are evident, Ella doesn't bother to deny it. And instead, she feels satisfied with the idea that her favorite artist has drawn someone who looks like her. At school, a superstition is circulating. If someone uses a card with a black butterfly design to confess their love, they're likely to get a positive response. Tongxi, seeing certain interactions, misinterprets the situation and concludes that neither Xiao Wan nor Lin Nanji are exchanging love letters. In response, she decides to write to Wei Jie. Her letter is ridiculously cheesy, But for unknown reasons, it ends up being published on a public forum by an anonymous user. With this, the image of the goddess that Tongshi had built crumbles. Lin Nanji offers to help her remove the post, but only on one condition, that she stops pretending to be someone she's not and acts naturally. To him, just as she is, she's already perfect. Meanwhile, Tao finds Tongshi's love letter and quickly figures out its true meaning. Noticing the phrases used, you immediately recognize that Tongshi is a die-hard Qing fan. Yeah, since her writing matches his old message, the only official girlfriend of Qing He. Unable to keep it hidden any longer, Tongxi admits to Tao Shu that she is still clinging to that idea. Tao Shu decides to cover for Tongxi, claiming that it was she who wrote the cheesy letter. Both she and Lin Nanji support her to prevent her from becoming the center of gossip at school. Meanwhile, Lin Nanji has already discovered the truth. Do you know that Tongxi is the person behind the user? The only official girlfriend of King He? Analyzing the letter, he notes that it was originally addressed to King. Yeah. But at the last moment, she changed the recipient and wrote Weijia's name instead. Despite this, Lin Nanji decides not to reveal his identity and just responds to her as King He in private messages. However, Tongxi is so absorbed in Weijia's arrival in the city that she doesn't even check her inbox. Additionally, Tongxi asks Lin Nanji for help to gradually transform her image and leave behind the goddess reputation she has built. But when he realizes that part of that change is related to Weijie, he can't help but feel jealous. In her attempt to look good for Weijie, Tongxi decides to stop eating. However, when she finally sees him, hunger and exhaustion end up overwhelming her, causing her to faint. Lin Nanji challenges Wisha to a basketball game. Even though he manages to beat him, the victory doesn't mean much as he fails to earn Tongxi's respect, which is the only thing that really matters to him. Later, Tongxi invites Weisha to dinner at a restaurant that her father loves. However, Weijia's discomfort is evident. His body language makes it clear that he dislikes the place. He finds it unhygienic and doesn't like the food. At every moment, he seems to show that Shihai is a place that doesn't interest him at all. Finally, feeling increasingly uncomfortable with his attitude, Tongxi firmly responds that Shihai is a special place for her to come home. Tongxi writes to Qinghe and gets an almost instant reply. The excitement overwhelms her, and she screams in surprise. To keep the conversation going, she offers to share her experiences to inspire his manhwa. Lin Nanji, who is secretly Qinghe, can't miss this opportunity. Wei Te returns to the city after completing the paperwork for his transfer. Next semester, he will study at the same school as Tongxi. Before saying goodbye, she asks him if he prefers how she is now or how she was before. Without hesitation, he replies that what's important is to improve, so his current version is the best. The answer is not what Tongxi expected, and she can't help but remember Lin Nanji's words, who has always told her that she should accept herself just as she is. While walking on the beach, she runs into Lin Nanji. Tongxi had wanted to show Weijia the phenomenon of blue tears in the ocean, a bioluminescence that makes the water shine, as proof that Shihai is a special place. However, in the end, it's Lin Nanji who witnesses the spectacle alongside her. In that moment, he comforts her with sincere words, saying that your true self is enough for people to love you. Hearing this, Tongxi smiles, accepts his advice, and promises to be more authentic. That night at home, she tells Qinghe about her experience. In his mind, he interprets the story as an indirect confession, believing that this boy himself must be someone very important to her, even if she doesn't realize it. The next morning, Tongxi gathers her hair with determination, ready to show herself just as she is to others. Even though the students are watching her, she has never felt so comfortable with herself. However, Xiao takes the opportunity to manipulate the situation and convince the class that Tongxi is a liar. Tongxi decides to face the truth and confesses everything, the design of the mural newspaper and the love letter. She apologizes to the class, and even though some murmur, she feels happier being herself. As a symbol of this change, she says goodbye to her imaginary angel and demon, acknowledging that she no longer needs them. Meanwhile, Lin Nanji is nervous about the upcoming fan meet. On the contrary, Tongxi is completely excited. In a desperate attempt to keep his identity hidden, Lin Nanji decides to disguise himself as Ultraman. Lin Nanji saves Tongxi while disguised as Ultraman, and despite everything, he manages to keep his identity a secret. However, the disguise gets ruined, so he shows up at the event wearing a chicken head. Under the mask, he gives Tongxi special treatment, signing everything she asks for and being particularly attentive when she requests that he write his signature as Lin Nanji. The attentions continue, and only Tongxi has the privilege of hugging him. Even Yuqin, he tilts his chicken head towards her in a gesture of closeness. Everything seems to be going well until the end, when Waiter discovers the truth. However, he decides to keep the secret. After the fan meet, Tongsi runs into Lin Nanji. He doesn't suspect anything, and they end up going to lunch together. Her friends notice that Weija doesn't seem that happy when she focuses her attention on him, in Lin Nanji, and on the wound on his arm that he got while saving her. To change the subject, they start talking about the shrimp on the table. Tongsi tries to grab one with her hand to peel it, but Weija corrects her with disdain, reminding her that she should use chopsticks. Embarrassed, she apologizes for her manners. However, Lin Nanji does the same as her. He takes a shrimp from the plate, peels it with his hands, and casually places it on his plate. Later, Tongsi shows up unannounced at Lin Nanji's house. He wasn't ready to receive her, so all his sketches are out in the open. At that moment, she discovers the truth. Lin Nanji is Ching. The impact overwhelms her, and she runs away, but not because of him, rather out of embarrassment for her own behavior towards him. Tongsi is upset with Lin Nanji. It was him who told her that she should be honest with herself, and yet he hid his true identity all this time. Despite his anger, Lin Nanji doesn't stop trying to talk to her. When he's not looking, she smiles discreetly at the doodles he makes in his notebook during class. Finally, Wang, Jiming, and Tao Chu lock them in the classroom, giving Lin Nanji the chance to apologize. He explains to her how he became Qing He and how he was inspired by her to create Mint. Tongxi, even though she's still upset, finally agrees to talk to him. Her biggest discomfort isn't just the deception, but how embarrassing her messages were. Cheesy. Lin Nanji, not missing a beat, drags a chair to sit in front of her and comments that he finds her adorable. Then, she asks if anyone else knows the truth about his identity. She lies and replies that no. Wei Ze is the only one who knows. To make sure, he asks her if Nixia Wan knows. Of course she doesn't. Nixia Wan is just another classmate from school. Curious, Tongxu asks what their true relationship is, since, in theory, they are just childhood friends. Lin Nanji calmly replies that that's not true. After all, it wasn't the two of them who promised each other marriage in childhood. Tongxi changes the subject and asks how they can get out of the classroom. Lin Nanji points to the huge windows, showing that he knew the answer from the very beginning. Annoyed, she chases him while he mocks her reaction. Everything goes back to normal between them. On the other hand, Nixiao tries to get closer to Lin Nanji with the idea that by being nice, she'll get him to notice her. Despite her efforts, he never considers her an option. One time she asks him at the cafe where he works for a lemon mint water, but instead, he gives her a milk tea. The lemon mint water is reserved only for Tongxi. It's vacation season, but for Tongxi, there's no break. Her mother fills her schedule with so many activities that she barely has time to breathe. She even prevents her from gaining weight as she wants her to maintain a perfect image as if she were some kind of diva. Lin Nanji knows that Tongxi doesn't like to dance, so he invites her out on his birthday, along with Tao Chu and Wang Jiming. She agrees and skips one of her classes, making it clear to her mother that she doesn't want to continue with dance. On the other hand, not even Xiao Wang returns home. Her mother, proudly, boasts that her brother ranked among the top 10 in the exams, and to celebrate, she'll add more dishes to the dinner. When Nixia Wan shows her her own score, revealing that she got first place, her mother only responds with indifference. Again, good for you. And the topic ends there. Meanwhile, Lin Nanji keeps his distance from his father. With his parents, his family situation seems complicated. He's upset with his adoptive parents because they never told him he was adopted. And he avoids responding to his biological mother, who regularly sends him money. On the other hand, Shu, Ao, asks Tao Shu to join his club as he needs help behind the scenes. His intentions are unclear, considering he rejected her in the past. Is he trying to take advantage of her? Lin Nanji is baking a cake for Tao Shu's birthday, Tongxi. His father mocks him for it, but that's not the only thing Lin Nanji has in store for him. As a special gift, he returns the mint necklace, which he has kept all these years. Tongxi thought she had lost it, but he has kept it all this time. For him, this object represents a promise of commitment, so he would have never allowed it to disappear. Lin Nanji explains to her that he found the necklace a long time ago, and given how important it is, he decided to keep it for her. He tells her that when they get to university and go their separate ways, he will be able to return it to her. The gifts don't stop there. King also has something for Tongxi. Sketches for his manga Ming. Illustrations of their cherished childhood memories together. However, Tongxi's celebration ends as soon as she crosses the door of her house. Her mother, furious for skipping classes, punishes her without even wishing her a happy birthday. The next day, Tongxu seeks advice from her ballet teacher, Mr. Shu. He reveals an unexpected truth to her. Her mother didn't move to Shihai for work, but so she could study ballet under her guidance. There were no job opportunities. Her mother quit her job so that Tongsi could have this opportunity. Additionally, the day before, her mother left Tongsi's birthday gift with Mr. Shu so that she would receive it in class instead of at home. Meanwhile, Tao Xu returns to XUAO's acting club, seemingly to cleanse himself, clean up. However, something changes in her. He discovers his true passion for acting, and when he is given the opportunity, she delivers such an emotional performance that it moves Wang Yiming to tears. Tao Shu discovers that Shu Ao only brought her back to the club to make his girlfriend jealous and still sees her as someone submissive. Furious, she confronts him publicly and quits. The next day, Wang Yiming hits Shu Ao, but Tao Shu forces him to apologize, insisting that violence is not the solution. However, Shu Ao rejects the apology and blames her for the problems in the club, refusing to admit his mistakes. She mocks Wang Yiming, but when he tries to react with violence, Tao Chu stops him with a knee to the stomach. Then, she makes it clear that only she can mess with Wang Yiming. Shu Ao insults her, and Wang Yiming challenges him, but no one dares to intervene. Meanwhile, Nixia Wan sabotages Tongxi's ballet shoes, causing her to trip during her first performance. Despite the fall, Tongxi continues barefoot, but as she steps off the stage, her ankle gets injured. Lin Nanji finds her. He notices that she's hurt and carries her out, leaving everyone shocked, including Nixia Wan. At home, Tongxi's mother is hospitalized for hypoglycemia, but instead of worrying about her daughter, she scolds her for not finishing her ballet routine. Tired of her mother's indifference, Tongxi runs away from home, but her phone dies. Lin Nanji, worried, goes out to look for her, while she is also trying to find him. Lin Nanji finally finds Tongxi at her house. He takes her to see the sunrise, but the sky is cloudy. While they watch the scenery, Tongxi opens up, expressing everything she has kept inside. Lin Nanji listens to her in silence without interrupting. The next morning, she returns home and starts packing. She informs her mother that she has decided to quit ballet and wants to spend the rest of the summer vacation at her father's house. Meanwhile, her mother has a conversation with the ballet teacher. In doing so, he discovers a truth he had not wanted to see. Tongxi never danced for herself but to please her. Understanding this, her mother collects all the things related to ballet. In solitude, she performs one last dance in Tongxi's room as a farewell. Then, she sends a message to her daughter, assuring her that she respects her decision and that nothing is more important than her happiness. Finally, mother and daughter manage to reconcile. Meanwhile, Sun Jae-king, one of her classmates, starts to develop feelings for Wang Jiming. On the other hand, Lin Nanji takes Tongxi to the hospital to visit Xiaobei, a boy who is about to undergo surgery. The little one has been copying Qin He's style in his drawings like a child version of his work. Lin Nanji gives him his own signed comic. The boy, upon receiving it, gives it to his mother and tells her that if something happens to him during the surgery, the comic will be able to accompany her in the same way it has accompanied him during his hospitalization. Before leaving, Lin Nanji teaches the boy how to draw. So the little one asks Tongxi what she can teach him. In the final scene, Wang Yiming rejects the mint candy given to him by Sun Yiming. She tries to give it to him, causing everyone to laugh. Dongxi decides to teach ballet to the boy. Lin Nanji watches the scene and draws it, noticing that out of all the things she could have taught him, she chose ballet. She also reveals to him that it was Wei Zhe who told her about the boy. On the other hand, Nishao's father forces her to apply for a scholarship. However, this poses a problem, since she has been lying to everyone about her background, claiming that her family comes from the city and is wealthy. Like Tongxi has been wearing a mask all this time. Lin Nanji doesn't want to expose her, so when Tongxi asks him about Nixia Wan, he just stays silent. The secret of Nixia Wan comes to light. Her family is poor. Upon learning that the truth has spread, she accuses Tongxi of spreading the rumors. As revenge, Nixia Wan runs away with Tongxi's mint necklace. Lin Nanji decides to get him back, and upon arriving at Nixia Wan's house, he notices a detail that surprises him. The person who stole the ballet dresses was Nixia Wan. With a victim's attitude, she asks him, "Why does everyone help Tongxi and no one helps me? Is it because Tongxi has the aura of a main character?" Lin Nanji. He clarifies that it was her own father who revealed her secret. She also apologizes if her actions led her to misinterpret his feelings and develop an unjustified hatred towards Tongxi. However, before leaving, he confirms to her that there is something she was indeed right about. For him, Tongxi really does have the aura of a main character. In the rain, Lin Nanji waits for Tongxi in front of her house to return the necklace. He wants to explain what happened with Nisha Wan, but Tongsi doesn't need to hear anything. The mere sight of him waiting for her in the rain is enough for her to know that there's nothing between him and Nisha Wan. Meanwhile, Nisha Wan is running away from her house. Her classmates start looking for her everywhere. Finally, Tongsi and Lin Nanji manage to find her. However, she rejects him and sends him away, claiming that he is only there because of a girl. The conversation quickly escalates into a fight, almost like a cat fight. When they finally calm down, Tongsi assures Nisha Wan that despite everything, she is still the best in the class, no matter where she comes from. Nisha Wan, in response, gives him a compliment. She also has her own aura of a main character, just as Lin Nanji said. But it doesn't end there. With a smile, Nisha Wan warns him that she will continue to be his rival when it comes to Lin Nanji. Tongsi, far from feeling intimidated, smiles, even more. When it comes to Lin Nanji, she won't back down. Moments later, the girls return with their hair all messed up. Lin Nanji, Tao Chu, and Wang Jiming watch the scene in disbelief while the girls seem completely calm. Nisha bows and apologizes for causing any trouble. Finally, she is ready to go back home. And so we come to the end of this summary of Summer Again. But before we say goodbye, don't forget that the story continues. How will the characters react to the changes that are about to come? The tension is at its peak and everything is about to be resolved. But this is all the time we have for today. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out. The conclusion will be in the next episode. Also, don't forget to leave me a comment telling me what you think of the story so far and how you believe everything will be resolved. If you like this type of content, you can also follow me on my social media for more updates and exclusive spoilers. See you in the next video with more surprises and excitement.